Hello, students. Sorry about that. I thought my audio was recorded on the last one, but apparently it wasn't. So I'll go through and do this video again really quickly. So today is Wednesday. As you know, it's asynchronous. Yesterday, you were supposed to have the water test report done. Make sure that you submit that with your CAMI map as well. If you have questions on how to submit that together, send me an email or reach out to me in the Google Meet because I'll be in it throughout the rest of the week until we come back from Thanksgiving, when hopefully we all come back to face to face. Today's classwork, if you have not completed that water testing report assessment, make sure that that is your first task or your first priority. If you have completed it, then you should move on to the pros and cons of the solution plans. That's going to be due Sunday at midnight. And so I have the two documents up, so I'll just kind of walk you through the pros and cons of the solution plan really quick. So this is the actual document itself. I am totally fine with you working on this as a group. So if you want to click the share button, maybe. Of course, mine is going to look a little bit different because I'm one of the teachers. But anyway, so if you want to share this with your other group members, click on share and then type in their emails here. So for instance, if I was in a group with Mr. DiLorenzo and Mrs. Smith, I would, right here, I would add Mrs. Smith, and I would add Mr. DiLorenzo. And then I would click share. You're also going to want to make sure that they're editors too. So make sure that you have that. If they are viewers on here, then they can't do anything except for just look at it. So make sure that you're an editor or they are an editor before you share that out to them. And they can work on that with you as well. So I'll kind of walk through, I'll walk through just the awareness campaign. I'm just going to do 2 bullets for the pros and the cons. And then so you can fill in the last bullet between both of them. But make sure that you have 3 bullets for the pros and 3 bullets for the cons in all of these different solution options. And you may be asking yourself, like, well, how do I know what the pros and cons are of these different solutions? That's where this document comes in. So it's called solution plans. It's also in there. In this one, you can only view it. And so you're just going to read through all 9 of these different solutions. So there's the awareness campaign, septic tank upgrades, new main water treatment plant, nitrate removal, lakefront protection plan. Down here we have new water treatment plant, agricultural incentives, phosphates and nitrate ban, new main water treatment plant with phosphate removal, and lastly, lake research. So those are the 9 possible solutions. And so to kind of focus in on the awareness campaign, I'll just read through it really quick and I'll think of 2 pros and 2 cons, and I'll leave 1 pro and 1 con for the rest of your group to finish up. So in the awareness campaign, it says this proposal would educate the public about sources of nitrates and phosphates in their everyday lives. Topics would cover reducing the use of phosphate detergents and ammonia-based cleaners, using fertilizers properly, handling pet waste properly, and reducing harmful emissions in daily activities. So the total cost also is $200,000, and then the time to implement is 1 year. And we'll talk more about the cost and the time kind of near the end of next week, after we've talked about the people who live around Jaffrey Lake and what they want and taking their needs into account. But for the most part, we're going to focus on just what the actual thing is doing today. So coming back to my document for the pros and cons and sliding up to the top, thinking of the awareness campaign, this would educate, there we go. This would educate, oh my gosh, oh boy, let's try that again. It would educate the public on phosphates, and nitrates. Another pro would be that this is probably focused more towards like citizens. And so this would help citizens. Wow, I can't type. This would help citizens reduce the amount of phosphates and nitrates they use in their residences. And so that would be like in an apartment, in a house, and And anywhere where we find just kind of like a common citizen, it would help them reduce those things. And so like maybe near like the east, South Jaffrey. Like if you thought that that was one of the places where a lot of phosphates and nitrates were entering the water, then maybe like if we educate the citizens on like using phosphates and nitrates sustainably, then that might reduce the amount of phosphates and nitrates that end up in the Jaffrey Lake. So that would be a pro. On the other side, a con, it's only an advertisement thing, so it's really only going to focus on the citizens. And so that in itself could be a con, like that it only focuses on the citizens rather than on like large industry or broader kind of like broader, oh, what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, like just like a larger industry or just like a broader area, right? Like if I had the farmland, like this is focusing on citizens specifically, but it's only going to focus, or it's not going to focus on the farmland, the industry, like the car wash necessarily, the things that really like create money. It's just going to focus on the people. And then another con is that like it may not be very effective because it relies on humans to make the right choice. And so like even if I know this as a teacher, like even if I educate you on something, it doesn't mean that you're necessarily going to understand or that you're necessarily going to do those things that I want. And that's just how like the nature of education works. Like even no matter how much money we throw at education, there's always going to be some people that don't quite understand, which is fine, or there's going to be people who just don't want to make that choice. And so just at least having that knowledge and going from there is where that comes from. So in a sense, like these could be two pros, these could be two cons, and then I'm going to leave this third one open for you and your group to finish up. But again, you're just going to go through all of these different solutions. You're going to work with your team. If you want to work on one document, I would encourage you to do that. That's completely fine with me. Once we get to the assessment, let's see, a little bit later on, I think there's going to be another individual piece to it too. So make sure that you're collaborating with your group. If you have issues with the collaboration or your group members not pulling their weight or something like that, then send me an email, a private email, and I will be happy to work with y'all on that and try to figure out the best solution for you and your learning. But anyway, I will talk to you in the Google Meet. I will be in those for the rest of the week. So if you have any questions, make sure you stop by or send me an email. Thank you, everybody, and I'll talk to you later.